I thought that about Bam Margera when I would watch Jackass as a kid. Like I mean, it kind of lines up. So I was like 11, 12 when those episodes were coming out. And if you watch those, like Bam's big thing was like number one, pranking his parents, which like you see that as a 12, 13-year-old, you're like, what kind of power dynamic is at play here? Like, and then you'd see him clearly with way more money than his parents, just like fucking up his own Lamborghinis, buying multiple Lamborghinis. Like, I remember seeing that and just my mind not being able to comprehend the dynamic of his family and being like, okay, but he's got a Lamborghini, but his face, like, he looks like he's, 20. Like, how is this panning out?
He's a weird, like example, right? Because you've got a guy who became independently wealthy and famous, at least in his little world. I'm talking pre-Jackass, when he was just a famous skateboarder, making enough money at that he was independently wealthy, like way more money than his parents had. And then we saw the show there, and I'm sure there's some like showmanship going on. It's a reality show, but yeah, the power dynamic was that Bam was the boss. And it seemed like at some point that his mom and dad, if April and Ape and his dad ever had an inkling of control over Bam, then that clearly was dissolved at some point. I would like to, if I had one question for those people, that's when it would be. What it would be, it'd be like, hey, at what point
he'd like buy them a house?
Of course. At what point did you stop being Bam's like guardian, boss, parent, like overseer, and start being one of his lackeys who will allow him to beat them senseless on camera?
Yeah, like while you're shitting.
When did
he's just like this, he's like one of Mr. Beast's friends. It's like, now you're getting your 50th Tesla. Like, it's like when he
it's like being one of Mr. Beast's enemies. Like,
to be fair, like right now, he's currently on a ventilator. I don't know if you guys are aware.
Bam Margera.
Bam's probably not going to make it much longer.
What the fuck happened?
Yeah, just the years of drug and alcohol abuse, I would imagine. And I think he's ill. Like maybe he got.
I don't think he has pneumonia. Which
he doesn't seem like the kind of guy who would get vaxxed to me. Like he seems like an anti-vax kind of guy.
No, or just like
he's out of he's out of the hospital.
Really?
Yeah.
They said he was on a ventilator like yesterday, so I was like, usually when people go on a ventilator, that's kind of it.
Yeah, usually that's like not good for you. It's like a last way to keep you alive. I think it's like hard on your lungs.
I saw him. I think it's also partially because if you're going on the ventilator, your lungs have stopped working, and that's indicative of like some major cascading failures.
Shit's going down.
I saw him on Howard Stern, like in studio, probably 10, 15 years ago. But he was maybe not at his height, but he was doing he's on Howard Stern in person, and he's got like a supermodel girlfriend with him. And he's got, I can't remember which one of those poor guys with him, but it was the one who had like driven away in Bam's car and wrecked it, his Lambo. One of his Lambos. I guess that's all he spent his money on, is like multiple Lambos. This guy drove off in his car, wrecked it, and Bam had lied and been like, oh, no, it was me. I wrecked the car, not because this other guy was gonna get in so much trouble. And so insurance doesn't cover now. And so he's just out a fucking Lambo. And the guy's sitting there like, he's like, yeah, I owe Bam a Lambo, so I do whatever he says now, forever. Bam. And Howard Stern's like, so wait a minute, this is exactly that guy right there. That's the dude.
And look at his poor dead eyes.
Look at his poor dead eyes. Here's what I want you to look at his fingers. So that's what I was going to talk about. So those rings don't come off. Those rings are like swollen onto his fingers to the point where he couldn't get them off if he wanted to. Like if you said, Bam, $1,000 per ring, he'd be like, fuck off, bro. They don't come off. Like you can't get them off.
To go to like a locksmith or a fire department.
You would get because the flesh, the skin had like, it's when you looked at him, it looked dangerous. I don't know how he was keeping his fingers.
Less is more, man. Like that's too many rings.
That's a lot of fashion statement.
What's with that? All right, look. I don't know.
Is this in the 90s?
Yeah.
Like
no. This is
2005.
My best guess is this is 2005 to 2008, somewhere in there.
Dressing like those like fucking Fallout Boy cunts.
He's got kind of a grungy like shithead thing going on.
Multiple
scarf wearing fucking emo.
He looks like a 2022. He looks like 2022 homeless.
Yeah. I think he's like he's already at a stage where he's like in his 30s, so he's too old to be like that was a
how many of your
19-year-old's
grandma's
fashion choice.
How many of
It'd
your
be like-
grandma's bandanas do you have, dude? Like,
Yeah.
what's
It'd be
Some
like if my
dude
dad
in
just rocked
Memphis.
up wearing like a fanny pack with like the fucking Supreme drip or something like that. It'd be just
But
fucking weird.
Yeah, at least a fanny pack is practical though.
His girl there
I
is super hot, and he was always seemingly with a super hot lady doing really well. But I don't think so anymore. It seems like everybody's abandoned him basically for his own good. So if
Well,
I
for
could put
their
him
own
on,
good, it seemingly like seeing like well, for his own good, and also like I watched that interview I think you directed me to with Johnny Knoxville, where he kind of addressed it a bit, and he's like I think they're all the same age, but he always kind of came off as like the crazy one, but also the parent a bit, and he's like, you know, we're not going to let you be a part of this, behaving and being as you are now, like. And like I watched the Bam response to it, and it's like fucking sad because it's like a guy clearly in the muck and mire, like delusional about what's going on in his life. And it's like if I were Johnny Knoxville, I would do the same thing. I'd be like, dude, we don't want some unreliable guy who's going to show up too fucked up to do the bits 5 hours late. Like you realize there are people with jobs who rely on this. Like there are crew, there are things that need to be done. Like, no, we're not going to invite some, you know,
and insurance as well.
Time bomb. Yeah, insurance. That's a great point.
It's not cute anymore. They're like in their 40s, and he's like, "Man, we just want to film this shit and go home." Like,
yeah,
all of us have fucking kids, and we need to get them to school. Like, this is a fucking pain in the ass.
Insuring that shit is ridiculous. I don't know how they do it. I know that like I was gonna do like a self-produced episodic thing one time, and we were like doing I was making up the budget for this like 15 episode thing I was gonna do, and it was expensive. It was hundreds of thousands of dollars. But then it got down to the insurance, and it was like, whoa, how much? All right, well then we can't fucking do it. Like it's full stop. We're all done. Like it was like $80,000 a day or something. It was just like, whoa, wait a minute, Jesus. What the fuck? How about I just take the 80,000 and put it on black? Like fuck you. I'm gonna give you $80,000, but they won't let me now. You know that now they won't let me produce the thing. So it's like, all right, well, how about I produce it? And we pretend like you didn't know I was producing it, and then you just buy a finished product from me later on. And they're like, well, this conversation we're having right now, shit!
What?
You broke up there for a second.
$80,000 a day in insurance. Like, what do you, surely that would cover like shooting live ammo at someone.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's a lot of fucking money.
Doing a high dive into a pond of AIDS needles.
Yeah.
It was, you know, it was the sort of, this just the stuff that I do, but except that, you know,
he is.
Now you have to be accountable, and like, you know, if somebody gets hurt, somebody's got to pay.